Hey, welcome to another episode of Business Mojo and Margaritas, where I get all up in your business in 20 minutes or less. I am Suzanne Proxa, your host, business strategist and coach for female entrepreneurs, and my jams just happen to be client attraction and marketing. So let's not delay any further. Let's dive in. Hey, allow me to cut in. This is Suzanne. I am super excited because I am taking one-to-one clients. Those of you who know me know this is my favorite thing in the world, and I have space for 3 rock star women right now who are ready to start moving forward in their businesses, get visible, start marketing in a way that is easy and doesn't feel like a root canal, and really put strategies in place that are going to get them seen as the expert and the person that people talk about online when somebody says, hey, do you know anybody who does XYZ? Yeah, you want your name to be one of the ones that's suggested. So let's get you there. Check out my latest coaching packages at suzanneproxa.com/coaching and sign your bootay up for a discovery call so we can see if working together will be a fabulous fit. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Business Mojo and Margaritas. I am here on a crazy rainy Sunday after our polar vortex with Tamiko Kelly. She is a baby sleep expert, and we're going to be talking about hustle mentality, balancing motherhood and entrepreneurship. She's going to give you some tips to help you get that baby sleeping through the night. And so I will, as I always do, let her introduce herself a little more because obviously she knows better than I do, right?
Yes. Hey, Suzanne, and all of our wonderful listeners, Tamiko here. So Suzanne is right. I have no problem bragging on myself because, not to brag or anything, but I definitely know my stuff. I've been a baby sleep expert since 2008. My clients have called me the baby whisperer because they've just been so thrilled and excited that my methods have restored sleep to their homes. So, many times people don't know, but I spent over 50,000 hours sleep training babies. So no matter what kind of baby you have, what situation you're in, how dire you think it may be, I can promise you, girl, I am definitely the one who can help. And I'm thrilled to be here today with Suzanne and to help you get some more sleep.
Awesome. So let's just start out with your area of expertise. So I know I mentioned before we got on the show that I definitely have a lot of moms who roll with me online, and I think they would be thrilled to hear anything you have to say about getting those babies to sleep and also getting better sleep for themselves with all of that going on, whether you have babies or not. So talk to me about that. What are your tips for getting that baby to sleep to start with?
Yeah, I think, in the beginning, all moms can totally relate to like the newborn snuggles. You're definitely you're so excited to be a new mom and, you're just enamored with this, like the sweet little angel God gave to you. And so you're in the honeymoon phase, but quickly after that honeymoon phase is at about the 6 to 8 week mark, exhaustion sets in, and you're basically willing to sell a kidney to get 8 solid hours of rest. And so what I see happening, at least for clients that come to me, is that they have, babies who are 6 months, 12 months, 18 months who don't sleep. One of the first things I always tell them is you got to get real with yourself and decide that this is a problem that you're willing to solve, because it doesn't matter what I say or what Suzanne says or what your Aunt Sally says. If you're totally cool waking up 4 or 5 times a night during the night, then girl, it's no reason to change what you're doing. However, if you know it's a problem that's impacting your life in other areas, make a commitment to yourself to change. So that's the first tip I give moms. It's just, are you doing this for you or because somebody else told you that you should be doing it? The second tip that I give moms is to get your baby into their crib. Now, this can be a hot button topic for some moms who are, who enjoy co-sleeping, enjoy having their kids in the same room with them, etc. But what I have found is that as long as you give your baby the option to co-sleep, they will co-sleep and they will breastfeed all night long. And so if that's your current situation, we have to help your little one enjoy sleeping in their own space. You're not abandoning them, something wrong with it. You're totally a fantastic mother from sun up to sundown, and it's okay to say it's 7 o'clock and it's time for you to go sleep in your crib for the rest of the night. So that's tip number 2. And then, tip number 3, which I think is the biggest tip, is picking a reasonable and consistent bedtime. Many times I see moms who are putting their babies to sleep at midnight, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and that's just way too late for small kiddos to go to sleep because kids need a lot of sleep. And to be quite honestly, until they get into high school, they need anywhere to 10 to 12 hours of sleep per night. So the skills that you're giving your baby now will serve them well for years to come. So the best bedtime is between 6 and 8 p.m. This is every night. No, we cannot, let the wheels fall off the bus on the weekends. It's, it's the same time every night. Even when you go to Aunt Sally's house on Christmas, bedtime is the same. I think, once you can nail that down, it'll make everything else so much easier for you.
That's interesting because, I know, I have friends that are moms, and I know people who get all kinds of critiques because they'll tell people, oh, you know what, I've got to leave by this time because I need to put my baby down by, like you said, 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock. Mm-hmm. So there's something in society too. There's some kind of pressure, I think, to not do that consistently.
Yeah, I think that as adults, we forget what it's like to actually need sleep for growth and development. I think that that's why it's so critical and important for moms to just not be ashamed and just be like, this is how it is. My baby goes to sleep every night at 7 or 8 p.m. And if you have friends who are being judgy McJudgersons on you, you just turn to them and say, hey, I didn't ask your opinion. It's happening right now. Like, it's literally how it is. So, because you and I both know they're not the ones who are going to be waking up with your baby in the middle of the night if you put them down too late. So, girl, do you put your baby down at a reasonable hour?
Truth. So, since we're on the topic of, motherhood and everything, what's the best way to balance motherhood and entrepreneurship? Because like you talked about, sometimes there's a lack of sleep and all of that going on.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that moms could do, the biggest gift that they could give to themselves is to raise their hand for help. I think, here in America for sure, moms are under an immense amount of pressure to get everything done themselves, which, leads to lack of sleep, of course. But it also leads to a whole host of health problems and as well mental health issues when you are the only one doing everything for everyone in your house. I mean, when do you have time to do things for yourself? So I always encourage my clients to, number one, figure out parts of your life that really make you want to punch somebody in the throat. So if that's laundry, if that's dishes, if that's, cleaning the whole entire house, whatever that is for you, figure that out and outsource that immediately. Like, don't think about it. Don't talk about it. Pick up the phone, ask for a referral, and get it off your plate, because you will see as soon as you release that from your plate, your energy will automatically lift because you're not killing yourself trying to do all the things in your house. So that's, I think, the first and most powerful thing you can do. And Suzanne, what I've noticed is that once you outsource one thing, it turns into a game where you try to figure out, okay, what else can I outsource here in this house to make my life easier, for sure.
So I find that interesting because that can apply to anybody, really.
Right.
And, I posted today about just being completely exhausted from working around the clock. I've got a big, 30-day challenge right now. And I know that I certainly outsource some things to a VA. And I highly recommend, I wish I could outsource the other things you're talking about. That would be fabulous.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, I think that's helpful for anybody. And I know that as a person who finds it hard to let go,
Yeah.
that I think that's what a lot of people run into. They feel like a failure because they can't do it all, or they just flat out are afraid that nobody else can do it better.
Yeah,
What do you have to say to people about that?
Yeah, I think that that's a very normal thing to go through. I went through it in my business as well. The way that I got over that is I created trainings for people. So that my whole thing is, I tell people, my whole team knows I can't handhold you anymore. I've literally created Dropbox folders for you and trainings for you. Do not contact me unless the building is burning down. So they have been empowered to know what to do and when to call me in. And I think that if you're feeling that nobody else can do it better than me, that I'll have to micromanage people, I'll have to go behind them and fix things, then girl, check yourself first and figure out, what can I do to empower and train my people the right way? So number one, I can trust that they're going to do it right. But number two, so I'm building long-term relationships, because I have an HR background and I can tell you, hiring, training, and retention, it costs you a lot more energy and time and money to have to retrain and rehire somebody than it does to train somebody right the first time, get them on your team, get them invested, make them in charge of a project versus an employee. Say, no, this is your project. You're in charge of this. You report back to me on how the project is going. I think when you look at it from that perspective, it becomes a lot easier for you to make the right hiring decisions and then to empower your people to do their best work for you.
I love that. Yeah, I do the videos thing too, video and Dropbox as well.
Yeah.
And it's interesting you say you have an HR background, because so do I, HR and training. So I do the same stuff. Yeah.
I love it. HR girls unite. Whoop, whoop.
Yes. Yes. You escaped from it.
Yes.
So let's move on to one thing that drives me absolutely crazy. Let's talk about the hustle mentality and how that can just absolutely kill your business, not to mention impact your health negatively.
Oh my gosh, for sure.
Mm.
So, we as women from very young ages are conditioned to put everyone else everyone else's needs above our own. I mean, I remember being a little girl and being told, you be nice, you be sweet, you go get your daddy his drink after work, go fix his plate in the kitchen, even though I was starving and hungry myself. And so always put the needs of others above yourself, because you don't want to come off as pushy or bitchy or needy or just not available. And I grew up in the South, so Southern charm is truly a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's ingrained in our DNA from birth. So it's truly, don't ruffle feathers, be the sweet girl kind of thing. And it's that kind of mentality that when you carry that, sort of, that sort of training, that sort of with you throughout your whole life, it can impact you in ways that you don't even notice. So if you find yourself, feeling uneasy and uncomfortable asking for help, or telling somebody that they've done something wrong, or when somebody gives you feedback, you take it personally, I can guarantee we can all trace it back to the way that you were raised, something that somebody told you, something that you were taught to do. And when this shows up in your business, it can cause you to get on that hamster wheel where you have to do more, be more, show up because you don't want to come off weak, or it's not being able to do your work the best. And it almost makes you fearful that if people find out that you can't do it all, that you'll be called out as a fraud, and people will laugh at you and make fun of you and put you on blast on Facebook. You know all the stories we create in our minds.
Yes.
And it truly has to stop, and it begins with you. Nobody can make you hustle or do more unless you give them permission to do so. So it's totally okay for you to say, I work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. The rest of the week, I'm with my family. I don't care. Unless Oprah calls me, I'm not answering. Like, it's just not happening. It's totally okay to say to your coaching clients, hey, we only have our coaching calls on Tuesday. If you have a question on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, my team can totally help you out with that, but our time is on Tuesday. It's totally okay to tell your mom's group at school, hey, I'm not baking 25 more cupcakes because I baked 30 last time and now it's your turn. So it's totally okay to have those boundaries in your life and not feel any guilt about it, not feel like you're being a bitch about it, because you have to protect your own health, your mental wellness. Nobody else, girl, is going to do it for you, right? So if you don't put your foot down and say, hey, I'm not doing X, and don't feel like you have to tell somebody why. Like, it's your life. You're a big girl now. Like, you can just say no and leave it at that. You can just be like, nope, no, thank you, and move on. You don't have to give any explanation on why you're not going to do that. And I think once you give yourself permission to do that, you will automatically get out of the hustle mentality. You will automatically stop staying up to 2 o'clock in the morning answering emails. You will automatically stop responding to every single comment on your Facebook page the minute that your phone alerts you. You will stop. You will stop answering phone calls after 9 o'clock at night when you're spending time with your husband or with your wife or with your partner. Like, you'll just stop the work creep, because you know that you're not defined by how well your business is doing. And it can do well even if you only work 3 days a week or 1 day a week or 2 days a week. It's totally cool.
Yes. I mean, I think that's great. Setting those boundaries and then creating those expectations for people too.
Yeah.
You know, that's part of the whole HR background, right? Setting clear expectations.
And then holding people to them. Like, it's okay to say it one time, but remind them, hey, remember when we had this talk back on blah, 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 blah? Let's circle back to that conversation really quickly, because I think you missed a couple of points there.
Yes, absolutely. And, you know, even though I'm somebody that clearly, obviously does too much, I still, you know, at night, when it gets to be about 8:30, I'm getting ready to put that phone down.
Right.
Because I'm not going to stay up all night on Facebook, you know, just like you said, answering questions and stuff like that. It's just, no, I need my sleep.
Right. I mean, and I think it just gets to a point, Suzanne, where you have to figure out what hours work for you. I have some moms who love working at night because their house is quiet, nobody's going to bother them, and they're totally cool working from 8 till 10 o'clock at night. That is the time where they work. And if that works for you, girl, then that's fine. The issue that I want to point out is that you can't work from 8 o'clock in the morning until 10 o'clock at night and expect anything to happen except for exhaustion, overwhelm, and frustration. Like, you can only do that for so long before the more you work, the less impact you're having in your business, because you are so drained and you are so exhausted from working those crazy hours.
Yeah. And so I think that's a good point, because there are a lot of people out there, you know, like me or even worse, who get up at the crack of dawn. They work their business, they go work for somebody else. And then, you know, some of us have chronic illness too. And then some are moms on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, it's important to carve out that time somehow.
Right.
To keep your sanity and keep from making yourself even more sick or sick in the first place or unable to do anything in your business.
Right. Yes. I mean, I think you said it, you hit the nail right on the head. And, people always say, well, I don't have money to hire somebody else and blah, 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 blah. Listen, it's all lies that you're telling yourself, girl. Most of us all have these ridiculous iPhones that cost millions of dollars to have. And if you can afford $1,000 iPhone, I promise you that you can find money somewhere, hire a VA to help you, double the revenue in your business, because you'll have more time to do what you love to do and not the admin stuff in your business.
Right. And I mean, a lot of people, they don't think outside of the box. Like they think that they have to hire somebody who is a VA. And we all know that VAs nowadays are charging 30 to 50 bucks an hour. And when you're only wanting them to help you with your Facebook group, that seems like quite a bit. Well, if you've got simple tasks like that, see if you've got a family member or a friend who will do it for a fraction of the cost.
Right.
Stop shutting the door on getting some help.
Right. I mean, because nobody says where the help has to come from.
No.
I'm just saying you have to get the help.
Yeah.
And get the right kind of help. Somebody who's going to, be invested and do a great job for you. That's really the key there.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that, it's tough because there are a lot of prominent entrepreneurs out there right now who are still preaching that whole hustle thing, and you're not going to get anywhere unless you work around the clock. And granted, I love Gary Vee. There's also some women out there who are still preaching this stuff. Right. I love Gary Vee, but he's always preaching that hustle. And I think it just, subconsciously, I think it just makes people feel bad, like they're not doing enough.
Yeah, I mean, for me, that's never resonated with me. I've always been in the business of outsourcing. Like I was the young girl in elementary school trying to figure out, okay, I want to do this, this, and this. Who can I get to help me sell more cookies or cakes or stuff at school so that I can leave early and go do what I really want to do? I mean, so from a very young age,
I love it.
I was an outsourcer. And so my motto is delegation rules the nation. And so I am all about getting help because you literally can't do it all. Like, it's not humanly possible. It's just not.
I'm writing that down. Delegation rules the nation. I'll be putting that in the publicity for this. That's awesome. Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh. So funny.
Wow. I think, have hopefully inspired a lot of women to, take a break, get that sleep, help them kind of figure out how to help their babies get the sleep so that they can get some things done or get their own rest.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you wanted to cover today?
I think we really nailed it in our conversation. I think the main thing I want to leave your folks with is just to honor yourself, to love yourself. And the easiest way, to love yourself and to honor yourself is to set boundaries and hold people accountable. Like, don't let, whatever guilt or whatever feelings of unworthiness that you have prevent you from doing what you've been called to do. And you just can't do it by yourself. It's totally okay to get help, and it's totally okay to have those boundaries in your business.
Get help, make boundaries.
Yes, and go to sleep. All
yes.
Three of those. Get help, make boundaries, and go to sleep. Like all that.
Absolutely. So tell me, how do you think that you can serve my audience with, what you do in your business, and how can they go about reaching you if they want to connect with you?
Yeah, so my website is sleepwellwakehappy.com. There you can learn all about me. I work with moms in a variety of ways. I offer one-on-one help for those mamas who want to sleep train their babies and want my eyes on their problem. I also have an online course, which with a wonderful Facebook group that you can go through and self-paced and sleep train your baby as well. So if they go over to sleepwellwakehappy.com/workshop, I have a free workshop that, that shares with you 3 of my favorite tips to get your baby to sleep. And I think it's something valuable for moms to have sweet little babies who they love to death, but they just want them to sleep so that they can sleep too.
Right. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time today. And I know that this will be helpful to a lot of women out there.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for having me.
All right. And to everybody out there listening, if you have not joined my Facebook group, what? Hop on over there, fempreneurs.biz, join the little party, and I will see you guys on the next episode. Thank you so much for listening to another episode. I'm so glad you decided to roll with me yet again. Hey, if you loved it, please give me a rating and some little comments on iTunes. And hey, if you're thinking that working together with my crazy self sounds like a fantastic idea, hunt me down, SuzanneProxa.com. That K is before the S. You can find all of my coaching information, my blog, my courses, all of the things, all right in one spot. And with that, I will see you in the next episode, gorgeous.